Well, guys, I just made a video, I don't know, about 45 minutes ago, I guess, maybe an hour, on this little 283 again. It's all back together. Put it on the stand, rolled it outside, got it wedged up because this is kind of an incline going downhill. So, as always, got to put a putty knife and a pair of fucking old needle nose. Got the battery sitting on the front. It does crank up and run. I was letting my phone charge up because my battery had just about died. Carburetor, yeah, she'd been sitting over there in that little oily spot for about 3 or 4 months easily. Probably longer than that, getting rained in. Yeah, I'd say at least 6 months probably. Getting rained in, and it had dirt daubers, everything. The squirters wasn't working, the accelerator pump. So I got my old kit out, which that's a pocket off an old pair of shorts. I cut it off to make a rag. Wrenches and a torch cleaning tip kit, and got her put back together. Carburetor actually works pretty good now for a 1964 carburetor, but and this block, going by that number right there, is a 64 out of my station wagon, and it matches the car. But at some point in time, somebody had been in this motor because it had one different piston in it, and that block was actually a true 4-barrel block. And of course, as you can tell, that's a 2-barrel. But somebody had tore this motor apart at one point in time. So hey, I mean, good God, it's 1964, somebody, I get it. A lot of shit happens between now and then. Well, then and now. But the little thing actually runs good. It's way better than before. It with the carburetor on it. That's why I was going to kind of talk a little bit before I crank it up, because it's going to be really hard to hear when it, because it is just uncapped exhaust manifolds. But it actually idles, runs good, doesn't smoke. I'll put my beer down, get a swig. I did put some water in it because I have no water running to it. You can see the water off the batteries just from the water pump where I filled up the block and everything, because I set out of a goal to build this motor for less than $50 all in. So when I say I don't have $50 in this build, I don't have $50 in it. I have used head gaskets, not off the motor. These are the ones that are on the motor way back when. I didn't use those, but did have some off of another small block that were in really good shape. They were used. Put them on there. What else? What was the biggest investment I gotta think of? Oh, oil. Yeah. The oil, that was $16 and some change. And Permatex. Got some silicone for it. So, yeah, I'm still under like $30. So, this is once again is going in my truck, which I don't give a crap about, but I want it to run around here. So it's not going to ever be like on the road a lot or anything. If anything, it might go down the dirt road, but just where it can move around on its own power. So, like I said, I have less than $50 in this whole rebuild. So let's see if I can get it to crank while holding this phone instead of putting it down. Should crank right up, but who knows. Let's go here. Got my whole wire here. Give it a little gas. But as you can see, it don't smoke. Might have to put my phone down for 1 second. That's to get her started. Make sure it's still rolling. Okay. And we ran out of gas because I have no gas line to it. Just running off of what's in the barrel. But as you can tell, she didn't smoke, she don't knock, she don't rattle. Everything in this thing is used. It's got used spark plugs, used spark plug wires. That distributor I got from my good buddies at Steve's Auto Care in West Point, Georgia. Even that terminal right there, I was too cheap to go buy a brand new one, so they donated one yesterday. Because I was like, I'm building this motor and putting it together really cheap, and I want to just crank it up, make a video of it. But this thing has not ran. The last tag that was on that motor was on the motor. Last tag that was on that car was 1986. So this thing has not been on the road since at least 1986. But I'm sure it's been locked up for I don't know how many years. I know I owned it possibly almost a year before I ever even fooled with it. And when I say it was rusted up, it was rusted slam up. I actually ruined a harmonic balancer puller trying to break it loose with a pry bar, and actually broke it, and finally got the motor unseized. And then once I got it unseized, I could pop the pistons out of it and get the rings. These are the original rings on this motor. It's kind of funny because one of the rings broke. These are the original rings to this motor in the I guess how I got it. I don't know if anybody had ever rebuilt it before. I know for a fact one of the pistons was a different design piston. It does have a 2-barrel on it now instead of a 4-barrel. Carburetor actually functions fine, as y'all can tell, until it runs out of gas. But good 2-barrel carburetor now, because you got to have these tools to do it in Keystone. But one of the top rings I could not get out, and I've got it right here. I could not get that top ring out, and get it loose to get it to spin over and spin in the on the piston freely. So luckily I have a lot of LS stuff too. So I had a LS piston out of a LS1. So the bore is a little bit bigger on the LS1 5.7 LS motor, and so I already had one piston that was busted. So I actually grabbed the rings off of that bad boy and filed them down and put them on this 283 piston, and file fitted them in the cylinder wall. I had about, I want to say it was 15-20 thousandths gap in the cylinder wall, put it on the piston, slid it in there, looked good, pulled it back out, oiled everything back up, and sent it. So, as you can tell, the little joker does not smoke, doesn't knock, rattle, anything. The only fluid that's out of it is actually this water, but the oil pan doesn't leak. There's nothing leaking on this little bastard. Valve cover gaskets, and it's oiling fine. I pre-lubed everything, but it's not a, in which I didn't even put valve cover gaskets on the thing. Everybody says that cast iron won't seal up the stuff. Gotta argue with that, guys, because there's no gaskets on the exhaust manifolds. I just spray everything with that copper seal. It doesn't leak. Now I wouldn't do that to like aluminum or shit like that, but it doesn't leak. I've had good luck with it. Now don't get me wrong, this right here, this leakage, that's gas. I mean, that's coming out of the carburetor that's leaking from that base gasket and around that O-ring right there on the side of the throttle blade. That bushing just being wore out. But there's no oil leakage anywhere on it. But everybody's like, oh, you gotta use these special gaskets. No, cast iron doesn't really care too much about that on exhaust manifolds and stuff. But intake gasket, yeah, it's got, I put intake gaskets on it, but exhaust, no, not so much. But it's all sealed up. Good running little motor. It'll be perfect for that truck. It'll pull whatever with those gears that little thing's got, and it'll look like it came out of it and was the factory motor, and that's kind of what I was going for, other than the HEI distributor. But more than likely I'm going to put points in it. I'm not sure at this point. Might and I might not, just because that's already in it and it runs. And I know I got to change the exhaust manifolds. Those do have to come off. I just put them on there to crank it up on this stand, and so those do have to come off. I'll just put the ram horns off the truck on there and then drop it down in there. But short of that, this little thing's done. It runs great. I'm impressed with it. Y'all might not be. Y'all might be like, you're the dumbest son of a bitch I know for doing all that work to something and not rebuilding it right. I mean, I get it. It was going to get thrown away. We were never going to possibly ever do anything with it. And so it was weird. This thing shut off right there on top dead center too. You know, the marks lining up. But it was one of those things where if it just kept sitting out here, it was like, oh shoot, next time we take scrap metal off, that was going to be on the top of the pile and it was going to get thrown away. So please don't think that this is how we build every motor. It was just, I was bored and I was like, yeah, I'm going to see how cheap I can build this thing and if it will run again. Because honestly, I knew it would, but it was still one of those things like, how well will it run? And is it gonna smoke? Is it gonna knock? Well, I knew it wasn't gonna knock, but will it rattle? Will it do this? But now that's the original oil pump. That's the original everything in this thing. I didn't even put an oil. That was the thing. It's still got the canister filter on this bad boy. I didn't open that thing up. You know why? Because I don't want to find out what's going on in that guy. But it does have new oil in it. But I guess the moral of this story is probably not do what I do and build it right unless it's just something that you just want to see will run. Because this thing that meant zero, nothing to me. and I was like, let's see if it'll run, and if it will, I'm gonna put it in that truck, and if it don't, I'm really out nothing. So if it didn't run, I was out a little bit of my time and $35, possibly 35. I don't know, close to 32. I think that silicone was $8. But needless to say, it does run. And if anybody's interested in a 283, I mean, I got one that's freshly rebuilt right here, guys. I mean, one of the top-notch engine builders in the country built it. That being a lot of satire and joking and sarcasm right there. But if anybody's likes watching these videos, please subscribe. I mean, 'cause I like making them. I don't know if y'all like watching them, but I like making them. Hell, we got a bunch of junk around here, so I guess I can start making little videos of just pulling dumb random shit in here and rebuilding it and getting it running. But hell, until I make another one, y'all have a good one.